The 16th century witnessed the production of two monumental illustrated manuscripts that would forever change the landscape of Islamic arts, Shah Temur's Shahnama and Emperor Akbar's Hamzanama. These lavish works not only represent the pinnacle of royal patronage in their respective empires, but also mark a fascinating transition in how architectural spaces were conceived, depicted, and deployed within manuscript painting. In this video essay, I examine how architectural elements, both real and imagined, were visually constructed, symbolically charged, and narratively employed as some with artistic traditions migrated and evolved within the Mughal court. This transformation was largely facilitated by two master Persian painters, Mir Sayyid Ali and Abul Samad, who first worked on the Shahnama in Tabriz before joining Humayun in exile and later serving as principal artistic directors for the Akbar's Hamzanama project. As we will see, the shift from the Shahnama to the Hamzanama reveals not merely an aesthetic evolution but a profound reconceptualization of how space functions within visual narrative, from the symbolic vertically oriented spaces of Persian tradition to the immersive dynamic environments of the emerging Mughal idiom. Before we delve into specific folios, it is important to understand the historical context of these manuscripts. Shah Temur's Shahnama was produced in Tabriz during the early Safavid period, when Persian identity was being reasserted through the arts. The Shahnama, or Book of Kings, composed by the poet Firdausi around 1010 Common Era, chronicles the mythical and historical kings of Iran and serves as a cornerstone of Persian cultural identity. Shah Temur's version, containing 759 folios with 258 illustrations, stands as one of the most luxurious manuscripts ever produced. Notably, during the production of this manuscript, Mir Sayyid Ali and Abul Samad were still young artists training under the supervision of Sultan Muhammad and Mir Musawwir, absorbing the Persian artistic tradition they would later transform in the Mughal court. Emperor Akbar's Hamzanama, by contrast, tells the fantastic adventures of Amir Hamza, who was the uncle of Prophet Muhammad, consisting of approximately 1400 illustrations on cloth-backed papers, each measuring over 2 feet in height. The Hamzanama was the first major commission of Akbar's newly established imperial atelier. Its production spanned 14 years and employed numerous artists, both Persian and Indian, reflecting the cultural synthesis that characterized Akbar's reign. Our first folio from the Shahnama is the Court of Qayyumers, attributed to Sultan Muhammad and often considered one of the most magnificent paintings in Persian art. The scene depicts Qayyumers, the first king of Persia, seated on a mountain top surrounded by his court, all dressed in leopard skins. The architectural representation here is fundamentally cosmic and symbolic. Rather than depicting built structures, the composition uses the natural landscape as an architectural framing device. Space is organized vertically, with Qayyumers positioned at the summit of a cosmic mountain that seems to rise from the terrestrial to the celestial realm. The mountain itself functions as an architectural element with terraced levels, creating a hierarchical space that emphasizes Qayyumers' elevated status. Gold speckles the sky, suggesting a celestial realm beyond the physical world. This arrangement reflects Sufi cosmological concepts where the physical world serves as a portal to spiritual realms. Notice how the landscape elements spill beyond the frame onto the margins, creating what art historian David Roxburgh called a porous boundary between the pictorial space and the physical page. This technique creates a symbolic rather than realistic sense of space, inviting the viewer into a metaphysical rather than physical environment. The lack of built architectural element is itself significant. Qayyumers as the first king exist in a primordial state, before the development of architecture. Yet the composition creates architectural zones through color, form, and spatial arrangement. The verdant landscape below forms a foundation. The rocky mountain creates a central axis, and the golden sky provides a celestial canopy, altogether forming a cosmic architecture that transcends physical building. Our second folio from the Shahnama is Rudabi's Maid Return to the Palace, which is attributed to Abul Aziz with contributions from Qadimi and Qasim ibn Ali. This scene depicts Rudabi's maid hurrying back after their secret meeting with Zal, confronted by a palace guard. The architectural representation here exemplifies the Safavid approach to build space as primarily symbolic and decorative. with the palace depicted as a multi-story structure organizing the narrative through its spatial arrangement. We see a central pink pavilion with pointed arches, decorative tilework, and ornate balconies reflecting elements of Safavid Persia in a stylized manner. The composition employs flattened perspective where the exterior facade dominates with figures positioned at various levels creating visual rhythm. The vibrant color palette of blues, pink and gold transforms architectural elements into decorative patterns that frame the narrative scene rather than creating realistic depth. Most significantly, the architecture serves both as narrative framework and symbolic indicator of social hierarchy. The maids in the garden courtyard and figures positioned at higher levels reflect social order through vertical arrangement. Unlike the dynamic environments we will see in the Hamzanama, the architecture here functions primarily as a decorative stage setting where architectural elements create a symbolic framework rather than an environment that actively shapes human action. Turning to the Hamzanama, we encounter a dramatically different approach to architectural representation. Our first folio is Misbah the Grocer brings the spy Paran to his house, which is attributed to the Indian artist Dasavanta. This folio demonstrates how effectively Mir Sayyid Ali and Abdul Samad transferred their knowledge of Persian technique while encouraging the development of a new approach to architectural space. Though not painted by the Persian masters themselves, this work shows their clear influence as directors of the Hamzanama project, guiding Indian artists in the synthesis of Persian and Indian traditions. The folio depicts a scene where Misbah on the right brings the spy Paran to his house as they plot to rescue Hamza's kidnapped son. Immediately apparent is the shift from the vertical orientation of the Shahnama folios to a more complex multi-layered spatial arrangement. Architecture here is not merely a backdrop but an active participant in the narrative. The domestic interior of Misbah's house becomes a stage where the story unfolds across multiple planes. The architectural representation is detailed and immersive. We see tiled floors, patterned walls, hanging armor, and domestic furnishing that creates a sense of an inhabited space rather than a symbolic one. Notice the sophisticated treatment of spatial depth. While not employed European-style linear perspective, the composition creates a sense of three-dimensional space through overlapping planes and varying scales. The architectural elements help navigate the viewer through the narrative with doorways and thresholds marking transition between different aspects of the story. Most significantly, this folio demonstrates the Mughal synthesis of Persian and Indian elements. The decorative patterns and tilework show clear Persian influence, but the spatial organization and domestic architectural details reflect Indian visual tradition. Our final folio is The Spy Zambur brings Mahia to the city of Tabarruk, which is attributed to Keshav Das and Ma Muhammad, and presents the most complex architectural representation of all four examples. The scene depicts the spies Zambur and Mahia entering the city of Tabarruk on donkey laden with fruit searching for a kidnapped lover. Here, architecture dominates the composition, creating an entire urban environment through which the narrative unfolds. The diagonal arrangement of buildings create dynamic movement through the space, guiding the viewer's eye along the path taken by the protagonists. The architectural representation employs multiple perspectives and viewpoints. Rooftops are tipped at improbable angles and staircases sometimes lead nowhere. Yet this apparent spatial inconsistency serves narrative purposes, allowing the viewer to see multiple interior and exterior spaces simultaneously. The buildings function as a series of frames within frames, each housing its own mini-narrative that contributes to the bustling urban environment. Particularly noteworthy is how the architecture directs attention to the central action. The building creates a funnel-like configuration that draws the eye to the gesturing figure of Mahia, making her the focal point despite the visual complexity of the surrounding architecture. When we compare these four folios, several significant shifts in architecture representation become apparent. First, we see a transformation from vertical to diagonal compositions. The Shahnama folios organize space hierarchically along a vertical axis, reflecting a cosmic order. The Hamzanama folios, by contrast, employ diagonal arrangements that create dynamic movement through the pictorial space. Second, architecture evolves from serving a primarily symbolic function to playing an active narrative role. In the Shahnama, architectural and landscape elements create emblematic frames for action. In the Hamzanama, architectural spaces become stages where narrative unfolds and characters interact. Third, we observe an integration of Persian decorative elements within Indian spatial frameworks. The Hamzanama preserves Persian aesthetic details like tilework and architectural ornamentation but deploys them within more complex, multi-perspective spatial arrangement which are characteristic of Indian visual traditions. Finally, there is a fundamental reconceptualization of the relationship between figures and architectural space. In the Shahnama, human figures dominate their settings, while in the Hamzanama, figures and architecture exist in a more balanced relationship, with environments often surrounding or framing human activity. The architectural representation in the Hamzanama demonstrates a significantly more powerful presence than that found in the Shahnama for several compelling reasons. Firstly, the Hamzanama was prepared as a performance manuscript, with each folio measuring approximately 27 by 20 inches on cloth back paper, intended to be held up and displayed to an audience while a storyteller narrated the tale. This performative function demanded a more dramatic, engaging architectural setting that could be visually impressive even when viewed from a distance. Beyond these functional considerations, Emperor Akbar's own political agenda significantly influenced the architectural representation in the Hamzanama. As the ruler seeking to establish a new synthesis of Persian and Indian traditions, Akbar encouraged the development of a visual language that would reflect his imperial vision. Architecture in the Hamzanama becomes a visual metaphor for Akbar's empire itself, diverse, multi-layered, dynamic, and innovative. Furthermore, the Hamzanama's architectural power springs from its production process. The manuscript was created by a diverse workshop of approximately 50 artists from different cultural backgrounds, working collaboratively under Persian masters Mir Sayyid Ali and Abul Samad. This cultural exchange resulted in an experimental, energetic approach to architectural representation that pushed beyond the conventions of either tradition alone. The historical movement of the Hamzanama's creation also played a crucial role. While Shah Temur's Shahnama was created during a period of cultural revival and assertion of Persian identity, Akbar's Hamzanama emerged during a period of dynamic imperial expansion and cultural experimentation. The Mughals were actively engaged in building their own architectural identity through ambitious construction projects across northern India. This architectural consciousness naturally influenced the manuscript illustrations, resulting in a heightened awareness of built space as both a narrative device and a symbol of imperial power. The transformation of architectural representation from Shah Temur's Shahnama to Emperor Akbar's Hamzanama reflects broader processes of cultural exchange, artistic adaptation, and imperial identity formation through visual means. As Persian master artists like Mir Sayyid Ali and Abul Samad moved from the Safavid to the Mughal court, they brought with them not only technical skills but entire visual vocabularies that were subsequently recontextualized within a new cultural matrix. The architecture depicted in these manuscripts was far more than decorative. It played vital narrative and symbolic roles that evolved to serve new imperial visions. The Shahnama's cosmic and symbolic spaces reinforced Persian cultural continuity and mythic identity, while the Hamzanama's dynamic theoretical environments reflected Akbar's emphasis on cultural synthesis, spectacle, and the immersive display of imperial power. By examining how architectural space transformed across these two monumental manuscripts, we gain insight into how two of the most significant Islamic empires of the early modern period constructed, performed, and imagined their authority through illustrated space. Their legacies still continue to influence our understanding of these magnificent artistic traditions today.